Hi and welcome to this brief series where I'm going through a number of IT management approaches, methodologies, activities and practices, and I'll be giving you the main headline points and the base foundation knowledge. I'll also discuss some of my real-world application of some of these activities and practices in the various organisations. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the bell, you'll get those updates. Okay, so let's get to it. Today I'm going to be covering off SIAM, so Service Integration and Management. It's a condensed version and we're going to be talking about the roadmap to implementation. Very quick refresher, the SIAM ecosystem. There are a number of layers. You've got your customer organization with the retained capabilities, you have a service integrator, and you have service providers, which can be internal and they can also be external. Your SIAM structures, you would typically either have an external sourced service integrator, an internal sourced service integrator, perhaps a hybrid, which is a combination of the external and the internal, or a lead supplier as a service integrator. So let's talk implementation, let's talk roadmaps. So there's 4 iterative stages when it comes to this. It's a planning framework, it determines the structure, it guides the implementation. It aims to set up a robust change management structure, both from a technical and from an organizational change perspective. It's a structure for making the whole thing more efficient and more effective. It's not always linear. Each stage of the implementation and the roadmap has an input and output, and there's multiple inputs and there's multiple outputs. Those 4 stages, this roadmap to implementation, that is discovery and strategy, plan and build, implement, run and improve. So let's just dig down into each one of them briefly. So discovery and strategy, it's about defining, it's about objectives, it's about mapping, it's about the value, and it's about understanding. So think due diligence, think capability analysis. So for example, you might want to be thinking, what is the customer's strategy here? What is their business strategy? What's their vision? Where are they trying to go? What are they trying to do? What are they actually trying to achieve? What are the benefits that they're looking to achieve? So go big on this. Don't kind of go into sort of the take a small view on it. You need to be looking high level here. What are their challenges? Now, what are their big challenges? Is it a complexity one? Is it a scalability challenge? Perhaps that there's other business challenges that are coming around the corner in terms of disruption, perhaps. Who's doing what? So this is about making sure you understand, who is doing what. I always find RACI matrices are particularly useful here. And then map as is. So where are we? What is the current situation? There's lots of different techniques to use here, but it's outwards looking. What's available? What's out there in terms of service integrators and service providers? Take risks and costs into consideration. You're exploring, you're reviewing, you're understanding the marketplace overall. So it sets out the stall, if you like, in terms of, hey, look, this is a project. It's not something that we're just going to do in the background. This is a full-blown project. It needs resourcing, it needs budgeting, it needs representation, it needs sponsorship. So this discovery and strategy stage, see it as a high-level governance framework element. You're establishing what is the current state of the nation, what is the as-is position, and then that allows you to start on things like the business case and the outline case. So that's discovery and strategy. The next step is around planning and building. So plan and build. This is the detailed SIAM model. Which is the best model to use? Is it internal? Is it external? Is it a combination of the two, using a hybrid model or a lead supplier? Think through those pros and cons. What's going to work in this particular situation? So if you go for a lead supplier, for example, so perhaps there's a service provider that can say, hey, I can do service integration. Your first question really should be to yourself, can they really do service integration? What experience have they got of doing this? If it's internal, think How's that going to work in terms of how independent are they're going to be? Really, how independent are they going to be? I speak from experience here. Consider organizational change management as well. So there's lots of techniques and there's models to manage organizational change. The ADKAR model, which uses a abbreviation of awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, reinforcement. You're appointing service providers, you're planning for transitioning, and in some cases, while you may be appointing service providers, you may well be saying this other service provider, we need to think about retiring them. They're not going to fit into this ecosystem or this particular model. Quick tip, watch out for shadow IT here. So shadow IT is where you've got people that are kind of working under the radar from IT. They're outside of IT perhaps, and they're kind of bypassing them. So maybe they are working with a service, someone within the business is working with another service provider that you're not aware of. They're outside of the IT governance model. You have to watch out for those. Then the next step around implement. So the implementation, like a lot of things, okay, how we're going to do this? We're going to do it all in one go? We're going to have a big bang approach, or we're going to do an iterative phase, perhaps a more agile approach, a phased, iterative, lots of feedback here. There are pros and cons of each. You need to think those through, but you also need to think them through in the context of what is the business drivers. We all know, okay, there may be a risk in a big bang approach because the impact could be significant. There could be a productivity impact. It could have quite a large impact if it goes wrong. However, the backdrop may well be there's a large takeover going on, or there's some other big business driver behind the scenes that recognizes that, and perhaps there's a speed element that says, okay, on balance, I understand the risk of going for the big bang approach, but we need to go for a big bang approach because we're up against the time, or perhaps there may be technical constraints in there. Maybe you have to do the big bang approach because perhaps service one won't actually operate and work with the new model, the service two. So, perhaps there's an element of we have to do the big bang from a technology perspective. When you look at phased, clearly it's safer. You might want to phase it out over different countries or different offices or different regions or different departments. Do accounts first, then HR, then IT, so on and so forth. Great. It takes longer though. So you do have to think through which is the best approach here, big bang or phased. Within the implement part of the roadmap, you're thinking through transition, you're thinking around your organizational change management again, your ADKAR, and it is important to make sure that you've got everything, all the risks really have been identified, and you've got actions and plans in place to mitigate those. There may be some due pay regulation with staff, perhaps you need to think through as well. And then the final step is run and improve. So as the name suggests, it's about operating in this new ecosystem. It's keeping the lights on. It's the day-to-day. It's the BAU of your ops and your integration. There's an element of fine-tuning. You would maybe be looking at service improvement, continual improvement activities. Maybe you have a register there. The collaboration piece with the service provider is really important. The service integrator must demonstrate that they're being fair, that they're being impartial within the ecosystem as a whole. Collaboration being the absolute key word. Consider the structural elements. So within the run and improve phase, you've got working groups, you've got governance boards, change advisory boards, for example. There's reporting on performance, the value. You need to be able to demonstrate the value and demonstrate this end-to-end value that you're bringing, this orchestration, this collaboration. And then part of run and improve, you want to be saying, what are the business outcomes here? What are the KPIs? What needs to be monitoring? What are we monitoring in the context of, do we really need to monitor this, or are there other elements that we should be monitoring? And the reason I say that is that don't monitor for monitoring's sake. Monitor for a reason. Is it delivering value? What are those KPIs? Are they the right KPIs for your SIAM value? So that's it in a nutshell. That's the various stages. You've got discovery and strategy, plan and build, implement, run and improve. Please subscribe, and I encourage you to watch some of the other videos. Thank you.